this live, I'm going to make sure that you also get a recording of this workshop. Give me about 60, I'd say about 45, 60 minutes after we get done. I'll send you a link. And you'll be able to watch this afterwards, because I promise you, I'm gonna go through a lot of information. By the way, I just want to make sure you guys can see me, right? Because sometimes I don't do the setting right, and like I'll be talking and saying, hey, you see this? Look at this right here, and everybody's like, no, Josh, we're just looking at a blank screen right now. So as long as, if you can see me, yep, okay, good. Yep, you can see me, good. Ben is a financial planner, blogger, podcaster at retirementstartstoday.com. Good. All right, Benjamin, I know to be a FinCon person. FinCon is a conference for those others, all the money nerds go to, which is me. My primary company is Savings Angel. I'll talk about that in just a second. Now, a couple of other things that are really good for you, having showed up on time, is that make sure you've connected with me on Twitter, and that is at Josh Elledge. Matter of fact, let me post a little note right here and send this to anyone who has already sent a question. Now, follow me on Twitter. Now, I'm going to try and give a lot of value in a short amount of time in this workshop. If you hear something and you're like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty smart. That sounds like a good tweet. Go ahead and tweet it out. At the end of the tweet, like, tag me at Josh Elledge so that I see that it happened. And then I will retweet you to my 20,000 plus Twitter followers, all amazing people, all like lots of entrepreneurs and startups and business owners and thought leaders in this space. So it's another kind of great win-win that we celebrated all this great knowledge today, and also you know, if I can send some more attention your way, I'm thrilled to do that. All right, good deal. So we've got, let's see, we've got a couple more. Morton joined us, another John, welcome. Okay, so with that, let me see if there's any other things. We've got, oh, we got Sven just jumped aboard. And let's see who else we got. Oh, we got Casey just jumped aboard. Is that right? Casey, we've got Adam, Benjamin, Casey, Jama, John, Morton, Sven, and then we got a bunch of phone people as well. So, all right, cool. All right, well, we're going to let all the other people join us. We got others joining on as well. So, again, just a couple of tips. You can ask questions. Find the question window right now. Say, hi, Josh, just to make sure that it works. I'll point out that I saw you, because as we get going, you're welcome to ask any questions that you want, and I'll make sure to incorporate that, particularly if it's a question that's related to what I'm talking about in that moment. If it's kind of off the subject, and then I'll try to remember it for the end as well. Also, I'm going to be doing a giveaway in about 8 minutes, so hang tight. We're giving away a $25 iTunes or Amazon card if you don't do the iTunes, and that's in celebration of life's been good to Josh the past couple of months. So, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so good. Again, go ahead and test that question window. Go find it if you can, and again, don't forget to tweet me if you hear anything great, and I will promote you at the end. Okay, so that's it. So I'll tell you what, let's get going. So with that, I'm going to take it off webcam for just a moment, and we're going to go to the slideshow, and I'll probably kind of bounce back and forth, especially if there's something like I'll get going and like I start getting on my soapbox or whatever, and I'll put it back on webcam so you can see just how emphatic I am. All right, you ready? Here, let's go. Oh, by the way, if you're taking notes, that's a real smart idea, because I'm going to share a lot of stuff that I think you'll want to take notes on. So go ahead and have your Evernote or Notepad or old school pen and paper or whatever. But what I'm going to share again, I'm going to try and condense about a half-day workshop down into about 60 minutes. So you should see this slide right now. It says how to get unlimited free PR. Can somebody please say yes, just to make sure that that is appearing on the screen, and then I'll know. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate Benjamin John. I do appreciate that. All right, good. So here's what you're going to learn today. Number one, how much money you can save with excellent publicity. There's a lot of ways you can grow a business. We're going to talk about why publicity and why exposure is so important to business. And there are a lot of ways to get exposure, and I'm going to kind of break down the different ways that you could do that and what that might mean for your bottom line. Number two, how you can drastically improve any Sales funnel. If you don't know what a sales funnel is, don't worry, I'll cover that. Number 3, how you can easily do this yourself. You don't need to plunk down lots of money hiring a PR firm. All right? Look, learn from my mistakes. I've blown over 25 grand on PR firms, and it can be a very, very costly experiment. I don't want you to lose a lot of money unnecessarily. Number 4, the first steps you need to do to get started today. So I'm going to give you some action steps. I want to make sure that as soon as we get done with this workshop, matter of fact, during this workshop, I guarantee I'm going to point out some stuff that you're going to be like, oh boy, I got to do that. Yikes. And it's stuff that right now is hurting you, not just with journalists and producers and the media and influencers, but it could also be hurting you in business and sales and conversions as well. Number 5, where to find the best media contacts and step by step how to connect with them. Number 6, don't commit the cardinal sin in a newsroom or with any influencer. I see this all the time. Number 7, how to get on the Today Show. I'm going to share with you exactly how to get on the Today Show. All right, we've worked with a lot of people. We've helped a lot of people get a lot of publicity, national stuff, big major market stuff. We've helped people get on reality TV shows, and all of that stuff is attainable, but there's a very, very clear path on how you do that, and I'm going to explain exactly what that path is. And then finally, toward the end, I'm going to explain what the #1 job of an entrepreneur is and what you should be focused on in order to get that job done. So, who's this for? It's for entrepreneurs, startups, people are committed to growing their business. You got to have a little bit of grit. You need to be able to use the internet. And if you're just dabbling in business, you're not real serious, you're just kind of kicking the tires on this. I think what you'll find is the information I share is going to be kind of valuable, but I don't think it's going to be very actionable for you, because a lot of what I'm going to recommend might even feel a little overwhelming. But trust me when I say that this is the path to success and riches if you want massive exposure and you don't want to have to pay through the nose through like Facebook ads or something like that. So also, if you're looking to get rich quick overnight, probably not going to happen, but I don't want that to dissuade you, because anyone who promises overnight riches clearly hasn't been in business for very long. So, but what I want is I want to help you build a lasting company that is going to provide you a lifestyle that you can enjoy for the rest of your life, and you can give it to your kids and all that kind of thing. All right. So my crazy media success story. So Savings Angel is a company that I launched 10 years ago, and Savings Angel is a membership-based website. We help people cut their grocery bill in half. We're very, very good at it. To this point now, we've helped millions and millions and millions of people over the past 10 years. Savings Angel today has grossed over $5 million in sales, and we do very little to no advertising. In fact, I think we've spent less than $500 in advertising. It's just not what we do. But instead, what we do is we focus on serving audiences. We focus on giving value, and I'll explain exactly what that looks like in just a moment. But so when I started Savings Angel, and we started when we lived up in West Michigan, it was my basement, and I had a great idea, and we developed it completely out of need. But I had a great idea, had the technical resources to do it, had a little bit of design skills in order to be able to do it. But one thing I didn't have was money. I had no money for advertising. So I was completely bootstrapping this. So instead of paying for ads, I just reached out to every influencer I could, and I shared with them what I was doing and what my mission is. And my mission with Savings Angel is, like a lot of other people here on this workshop, I'm sure you have a very noble mission. Like, you want to do good in the world, and I want to help you do good in the world. So Janice, I'd love to learn what business that you do, for example, and I'd love to learn more about what Casey does, and John and Morton and Sven, and again, I suspect that you have some noble reasons behind it, and there are a lot of great businesses out there. And what I found and what I knew is that if I couldn't get enough exposure, it didn't matter if I had the best idea in the world, I was not going to become successful in business. So I reached out to radio stations, newspapers, ad magazines, anyone who had an audience, and I said, look, what we want to do is help end hunger, lack, and need in our communities, and here's our solution. And we kind of explained how Savings Angel worked, and I got enough people to say, well, that's really cool what you're doing, and I like your idea. and I told him, I said, look, I'd love to advertise with you. I just don't have the budget to do it today, maybe in the future, but I'm wondering if perhaps, maybe we could produce some content together. And I knew the language to use just simply because my background, I was a journalist in the United States Navy for 5 years. I also owned a small town newspaper for a couple of years. And I'd always been interested in selling and advertising and marketing a little bit, and that helped me as well. And so I took all that knowledge and we started getting in the news quite a bit. In fact, we worked with a local Christian broadcaster, got a regular Tuesday morning segment where I would share the 3 best deals and explain exactly how to get them on the radio. And that got us a lot of attention and a lot of sales. And then eventually we ended up on the front page of the Grand Rapids Press in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is a decent sized paper. It's a decent sized town. And when this happened, this was a really magical day for us, because from this day forward, we never had to worry about money again. And that's a really, really exciting place to be, because I know what it's like to be in a scrappy startup and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this thing's going to work. And, you're wondering how you're going to pay the bills. And then all of a sudden you have your first day where, and I think we made, maybe like $400 some in this one day, which doesn't sound like a lot of money. I mean, it's not gangsta money, but it's pretty good. And for us, it was amazing because we'd never earned that much with Savings Angel in one day. And we have a recurring membership product. So, we would hope that a number of those people would stay on the books for at least a few months, and they did. And, we ended up getting more business the next day. And eventually we were getting to the point where we were having 6-figure months and 7-figure years. And that's an exciting place to get to in business, especially when you don't have to pay for advertising for that. I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that you should, and I'm going to kind of compare kind of apples and oranges to kind of show you how they each work. But since that newspaper article, we've now gone on to, I write a syndicated newspaper column for MLive, which is in 9 newspapers throughout the state of Michigan, over 1 million readers every week. I now have gone into, matter of fact, this morning I was at Fox 35 here in Orlando, Florida, where we live now. And I've been going in every Tuesday morning for the past 6 years. And I've done a lot of other TV with them. I've done a lot of work with News 13, CBS. I've done a lot of national TV, done big major market stuff. Now am in 75 TV markets twice a month through Great Television. I produce a consumer segment for, and it's really great exposure. And you can kind of see, if you look at all the logos, again, just kind of a sampling of some of the places that I've appeared. All told, over 1,500 media appearances. So that's kind of crazy, because that's a big number, man. And, but the thing was, when we started at the beginning, it was just, it was none. I mean, there was no media exposure, but I got my first one, and then from there, it just kind of grew. All right, so here is where I'm going to give away a $25 iTunes or Amazon gift card. And this is where you want to get your fingers on the keyboard. And on that last slide, I just shared a bunch of places where I've appeared. And what I'd like you to do is just the first person to share one media outlet that I've appeared on, you are our winner. Whoever the first person. Jema wins Parents Magazine. Yep, Savings Angel was in Parents Magazine. Today's Show, I don't think was on that slide. No, Today's Show wasn't on that slide. I haven't done Today's Show personally. We've helped people with that. But thank you. Fox 13, yep, been on there. ABC, definitely lots of ABC outlets. All right, so Jema, make sure that you and I connect at some point, and I'm going to make sure that I get that gift card to you, okay? And then also, I'm going to be doing a really, really cool giveaway at the end of this workshop as well. So if you like fun and prizes and you like winning, then I've got something for you there as well. Okay, so why should you become famous, and how do you become famous? Well, there's this myth out there, and I think it just has to do with I don't want to say our lottery mentality, but we all like that rags to riches story where somebody gets discovered, and we root for those kind of people because we feel like, oh my gosh, somebody just got plucked up out of obscurity, and they were struggling, and all of a sudden now they're crazy successful, right? We all love that story. There's a problem. That story just doesn't really happen much. Of all the people who go on to create success, I would say that 95% of the success stories, probably much more, they have a backstory where if you knew the work and sacrifice that they had to put into it, you might not be so jealous of whatever their success is. Like, everybody's got that. You know, before Savings Angel, I failed in business 6 times at various degrees of failure. Some I gracefully exited. Some were abysmal failures. The newspaper was an abysmal failure. Ended up losing a house, declared bankruptcy, went through that. I mean, that's just kind of, I don't want that on, you know, I don't wish that upon anybody. But again, you know, everybody's got a backstory. Everybody sacrifices. So it's the same thing for getting media attention. Just know that it's not going to happen overnight. And you can absolutely get the major market. You can get on Oprah. You can get on all that stuff, right? It's a very simple process, but you do have to do some very simple things. So, and don't wait for someone seeing you and discovering you, and it's going to be like, you know, Pretty Woman or something. You know? It's like, yeah, I don't know that we all want to be Pretty Woman, but yeah. So you know, again, that sort of thing just doesn't happen very often. So why should you become a thought leader? Why should you become famous, a subject matter expert, famous in your industry, big in Japan, whatever it is? Well, it's because I don't know too many thought leaders or who are people who are at the top of their game in their industry who are hurting for money. Generally, if they've got good products and services and they're not afraid to mention those products and services, they're doing pretty well in business. So what would happen if instead of, you know, being focused on how many can I sell today, you were focused on how can I become a thought leader over the next 1 to 2 years? And that's very attainable. And when you get to that point where you're a thought leader, I'm just going to tell you that lots of amazing things can happen. You will have very, very influential people that will reach out to you, and they will want to associate with you. And they will want to do major joint venture relationships and partnerships where you can make an obscene amount of money in a short amount of time. Like, these are the things that happen when you are recognized. Like, people will just come out of the woodwork to make these ridiculous offers to you where you can just make an absurd amount of money in a short amount of time. So how do you associate with these very successful people? Well, I don't know if you know what movie this is from in the question window, can you go ahead and chat it out? What movie is this scene from? It's actually probably one of my favorite movies this year, especially this character right here. His name is Gerald, and he's a sea lion. And Gerald, his ambition is to get on the rock with the cool sea lions. Does anybody know what movie this is from yet? Still waiting for a winner here. I don't have a prize for it, but you're going to be our smart person of the day if you know what movie this is from. All right. Well, you guys may or may not have young kids. I'm not going to. Finding Dory. Jama wins again. Yeah, Finding Dory. So again, Gerald, obviously, you can tell he's a little bit of a goofy sea lion. Gerald, I feel like, is sometimes my spirit animal, you know, because Gerald just wants to associate with the cool kids, and the cool kids won't let him on the rock. And so there's one time, however, where the cool kids let Gerald on the rock, and it's when they ask him to go get the bucket. So Gerald performs an act of service. They let him on the rock, but here's the thing. These guys are jerks. These other sea lions are jerks, so they don't let him stay on the rock. So how do you get into influential circles? Because again, if we can get people like Oprah and Al Roker and whoever else you want, right, to say lots of wonderful things about you and talk about your products and services, here's the way you get there. You get into these circles through service. Because one thing I know is the law of association is quite real, and that is that you are the combined average of the 5 people you associate with most. This goes for your income. This goes for generally your success in relationships, you know, how you act in the world, your level of professionalism. Like, we come up with our idea of what's normal based on the things that we learn and what, you know, as we hang around with these folks, that's how we up our average. or down our, lower our average. So it's really important that you are constantly looking for ways to associate with thought leaders of people who can help you grow and help you attain the things that you want in life. Now, let me share with you some real numbers about why I'm a big fan of getting media attention. All right. And so there's two charts that you can see on the screen right now that I want you to look at. The bottom one are our page views, and these are our hourly page views. And you can see, I mean, we're not a gangsta. I mean, I'm not going to use that term again. We're not crazy popular. We're a membership-based website, so really, we just want to get people on board, offer them a higher level service behind a paywall, and be able to monetize that. So we're not like a BuzzFeed or something like that, where we rely on getting millions of people through an advertising system. But I want you to notice, however, that nice little spike on Tuesday morning. Well, what happened? Well, that was actually the morning that I went into Fox 35. And I love those little spikes, not just for traffic, but if you'll look above, you'll see the real reason why I love Tuesdays. So these are our enrollments. Now you can see most days, I don't know, you probably can't tell by this, but there's a 0, and then there's a 10, and then there's a 20 there. So most days we get about 10 to 20 enrollments. But wow, look at these huge spikes. And on these days, these are Tuesdays. My syndicated column comes out, my Fox 35 segment hits, and we get generally between 50 and 70 people that sign up on Tuesdays. And so I guess my question is, and this is just kind of a guess how much, but guess how much I pay to appear on Fox 35 every Tuesday? Well, I don't pay anything, right? Yeah, gangsta. Thank you, John. Yeah, so I don't have to pay anything for that. Now, here's the thing, though. And so for those of you who are marketers in the room, you have to think a little bit differently. I'm going to skip because there's a point I want to make. No, I guess I took the slide out. All right. But I want you to think a little bit differently, because if you are a marketer and you're all about, conversions and sales and that sort of thing, that's great. That's probably been very good for you in business. When you're serving audiences, though, you need to take your salesperson hat off, and you need to put your hat on of what is the greatest value that I can bring this audience right now. And if you have that mindset, and if you have a mindset where you just want to serve audiences, you're going to find that PR is going to come very, very natural to you. And as a result, you're going to end up with a huge number of people who know, like, and trust you. And when you have a huge audience of people that know, like, and trust you, there's a percentage of them that are going to want to do business with you. So you just get to do business differently, where it's not about how many people can you sell to, but how many people can you serve. And it just feels so good to do business like that. And I want you to experience that. And so let's talk about money. Is that cool if we talk about money? All right. So your money... by the way, if that's cool, go ahead and let me know in the question window. Yeah, Josh, it's cool to talk about money. All right, so your business success is going to come down to simple math, right? If we're talking about the typical online business or most other businesses, it comes down to exposures or impressions multiplied by your conversion rate. And then if you have a recurring product or you have something that people buy on a regular basis, then obviously there's a retention factor in there that we can also add a multiplier on. So how can I help you make more money? Well, we need to increase these variables. Now, I do a lot of work with our members in terms of conversion optimization and helping them make the most of their audience. But here's the thing, and what I've learned. It's really hard to figure out what works. Nobody has a crystal ball. It's really hard to figure out what works if you only have a handful of people coming to visit you each day. You just don't have a lot of meaningful data. So you really need some numbers to test with. And so we need to just do more exposures. We need to get more impressions. Now, let's say we get our conversion rate optimized, and let's say we've got that to a good sustainable figure. Well, if we can increase the exposures or impressions, it's like the sky is the limit. So let's just focus on getting you everywhere and making you a household name so that you can really enjoy the revenues that are possible. So let's talk about like what those let's talk about like where those people come from and what this means for you. So to my friends in Erie, Pennsylvania, whatever your business is, you're going to have people that are coming to check you out. And these people in the sales world are going to be referred to as leads. So these leads are either going to be cold, warm, or hot. Right, or lukewarm, or somewhere, like somewhere in that matrix, that's where they're going to be. Now, a cold lead obviously is someone who doesn't really know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you, they've got their arms folded, they're tapping their toe, and they're like, okay, big guy, what are you trying to sell me? Right? So it's going to be a lot harder to turn that relationship into a transactional relationship. We compare that with someone who is a hot lead. I've had this happen where people you get on the phone with them and they're like, yeah, I already went through this, I already did this, I saw you on TV, I read your article, saw this, that. I just wanted to talk to you before we get started. I'm ready to buy. Now that is really, really fun, right? If that's you, you don't have to type anything, but raise your hand. Like, it is really, really, really fun to get those people. Now, how can we get more of those people for you? Well, we need to build that know, like, and trust factor out there. So media validation is a great way for you to get that. Now, again, when you advertise, well, how do you think about advertisements? Like when someone is putting a banner ad in front of your face, or there's an ad that shows up in your Facebook feed. I mean, you might look at it, but generally you don't give it a lot of attention, right? Because people don't like advertising because we don't like being sold to. And when you give value and you serve people, they let their guard down. And because they let their guard down, it's like going on it's like going on a successful date and there's good chemistry going on, right? If you're just coming across as a real weirdo, chances are you're not going to push too many buttons that are going to get you anywhere in that relationship. So I want to make sure that you absolutely hit the ball out of the park introduce yourself to your audience. So how much money can you make with great publicity? Well, on its face, an ad versus editorial content where you're giving value, studies have shown that the content tends to be about 3 times more valuable than advertising. Again, we want to make sure we disarm people by saying, don't worry, I'm not selling anything. I just, you don't have to say those words. I mean, you basically just say, hey, look, here's some great ideas on how you can grow, you can make more money, whatever it is, and people will appreciate that. So let me put some real numbers in here, and let's kind of share a couple of different business plans. Facebook advertising, very, very popular way of attracting clients. And again, I'm not going to talk you out of Facebook advertising. In fact, you'll see my model right here. Facebook advertising can be very profitable. Let's say that you want to get 1,000 visitors. Now your clicks to website, let's say you get that down to 50 cents per website visitor. That would be pretty good, right? If you were dropping them right onto a sales page or something like that. So that means you're going to invest about $500 in order to get 1,000 visitors. That may or may not be bad for you. That might be a great investment. Now let's say you have a 5% conversion on a $20 product. Let's say you're selling an information product or whatever. Now, again, these are just arbitrary numbers. You could plug your own numbers in here so you can kind of get a feel for what you would make on this model. But again, if you had a 5% conversion rate, a $20 product, 50 sales is going to net you, or it's going to earn you $1,000 in revenue. Now, you take out that $500 that goes to Mark Zuckerberg, and you're left with $500 profit. That's great. You just earned over $2,000 this month. So there's a problem, though, because, again, 50% of your money just went out the window. What happens, and this happens quite frequently, in fact, if your clicks to website all of a sudden go from 50-cent click to website to $1 clicks to website? What happens to your profit? It goes away. Right? You make no profit. Now, hopefully next week will be better. There'll be less competition. You have bigger profit margin. It might go down, might go below 50 cents. But again, you're just kind of subject to this. Now, here's another question. What happens when you stop your advertising? Well, I mean, you can kind of work on your existing audience, your leads that you collected. You can kind of dip into that a little bit. But for the most part, business kind of stops. And so again, kind of like the hamster on the wheel up there, you kind of have to keep feeding the beast in order to keep that money coming in. Now let's compare that with a different way of doing business. Now let's say you focus on getting media endorsements, or you get celebrities and influencers to start saying lots of nice things about you. And instead of focusing on selling, you focus on building relationships with people with large audiences. Now let's say there's one exposure, one segment or campaign you do, and let's say you get 200 visitors to your website, not 1,000, right? It's much less. Your investment, I don't know, it's probably nothing, right? You know, when I go into Fox, I invest $10 for gas. Let's say out of this 200 visitors, you have a 25% conversion rate. Why? Because they know, like, and trust you. They really like you at this point. Also, in fact, if you're doing a segment where you're on a podcast, you're on, something that people can't click on, like audio or video, they have to jump through some hoops in order to find you. So they're already subconsciously saying yes to you several times before they even get to your website. So again, your conversion rate should be substantially higher. So on a $20 product, well, this is very good. Now you've earned that same $1,000 with far fewer visitors, and your profit margin I really, really like, because your investment every week is not that much. So again, in this instance, you're now earning twice as much money. And here's the exciting thing. Once you develop friendships with lots of influencers, my friends, it is the money machine. It's a business that pays you for life. You don't necessarily have to pay every time you want to get more attention. You just have to find a way that you can make that influencer's job easier. That producer, that journalist, that YouTube celebrity, that podcaster, you have to find a way to serve them. Great example would be how I got on Entrepreneur on Fire. Matter of fact, let me put it back on my screen, on my camera, just kind of tell this story. So, because I was on Entrepreneur on Fire last week, and it's a big podcast. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. We've had a lot of people sign up at our website, and that's fantastic. I'm thrilled. We gave away a free gift, and I'm thrilled to be able to do that. So, but I had a number of people. I was at a conference last week or the week before, and people asked me, well, how'd you get on Entrepreneur on Fire? You ready for this story? Here's how you do it. There's a couple of ways you can do it. Number one, there is, I don't have the details on it, but there is a path where I think you can buy X number of books, or you essentially can pay your way to be on the show. Yay, capitalism. That's one way you could do it, right? I didn't do that way, but I served and brought value to John in a different way, John and Kate in a different way. So we've each known each other. I've known John and Kate for now about 2 years. We met at Podcast Movement originally in person, just chatted. Did not pitch him on, hey, John, you really need to have me on Entrepreneur on Fire. Like, that would be so inappropriate. Like, don't do that, right? Well, I'm going to talk about that a lot in just a minute, because that's what everybody does. Like, don't do that. Instead, invest in the relationship. And so then we met up. We kind of kept tabs, and then we joined. We went on a podcast cruise together, which is coming up, by the way, in February. And if you connect with me and you want to go on podcast cruise, like, stay connected with me. I think I can hook you up with like a discount on that, but stay tuned for that. And I'll just tell you my story. So podcast cruise, matter of fact, let me see hang on a second. I've got something. I think it's over here. Yeah. I don't normally do this in a workshop, but I actually have, this is the little flyer from Podcast Cruise. So as a result, this is who I got to go on Podcast Cruise with. Now, as a result, I was able to go on Andrew Warner's program because I just had a lot of one-on-one time with these guys. So you have to find ways to kind of get in these circles very naturally. And again, it's kind of funny because I feel like, I'm an influencer in my own right in the kind of the consumer savings world, but in this world, these guys don't know me from Adam, right? So I kind of have to start all over. But so in this small environment, and there are mastermind groups you can join, and this is another way you can kind of get more exposure, and hopefully this will lead to great things. So I was able to get, and you can go to upendpr.com/Josh, and you can actually listen to all these podcasts. So again, was able to go on Andrew Warner's podcast with Mixergy. Chase, we're going to do a guest post with him. Chris, we now know each other on a first name basis. Chris Ducker, first name basis. Don Kelly, I've been on his podcast. Really cool guy. Farnoosh, been on her podcast. Josh and Jill, not. Omar, been on his podcast. Tim and I are good friends. And again, and then John and Kate, and then of course Dan and Jared, who run Podcast Movement. On Podcast Cruise, John and Kate, for example, I said, hey, here's what I'm an expert in. Let me know if you would see value, if I can produce a video for you, if I can maybe produce an audio training for you. And here's the thing, right? And this, if you're taking notes, like this is the key phrase that you need to use. And if you will use this phrase, it will take your success rate from like 10% success rate in pitching, which I see most people screw it all up, and it should get you to about a 60 to 70% success rate on average. You want to know what it is? Like it blows my mind that doesn't seem more common sense for most of us, but we all get a little excited about what's in it for ourselves, and we forget our manners sometimes. So here's what you do. Like anytime you want to do a guest blog post, video, whatever, you want to produce content for somebody else, you have to use these words. And if you do, it works. Ready? Have I got you anticipation over what I'm about to tell you? So you need to say these words. Say, I'd love to produce it. I don't need any links back. I don't need any credit. I don't need any publicity. It's just I'm really passionate about this subject, and it would be an honor to serve your audience because you have done so much for me in listening to your podcast or watching your videos. I've really appreciated everything I've learned, so I would just love to give back. Now, if you say that, like if you approach them as someone who really appreciates what they've given to you and you would like to reciprocate and you don't need anything back, like you just want the opportunity to serve, okay, what's that going to do to them, right? Most of the time when they get hit up, they feel like they're being sold to, and no one likes being sold to. Influencers don't like it, right? So you don't do that. Instead, you offer to find a way that you can provide some value and just keep offering stuff to people for free. Now, I know what you're thinking, and you might be thinking, okay, well, what's in it for me then? Couple of things. Number one, you've invested in the relationship, okay? This little thing that you just offered to them may not, and by the way, what I'm talking about, this applies no matter what media platform we're talking, whether if you want the New York Times to say something nice about you, it's kind of the same principle, right? I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm telling you, this is the secret formula. So here again, what you were thinking is like, what am I going to get out of it? Number one, you're investing in the relationship. This little gig that you're doing right here for them, no, you might not get much out of it. That's okay. Right? Because in the future, they may be really impressed with what you offer them, and they may decide, hey, we're going to do an online summit. Hey, that Molly person that we had on, she was really sharp, and she provided a lot of value. Why don't we invite her on this online summit? And then all of a sudden, Molly, who sells a $1,000 e-course on something, now does a joint venture with this influencer and is now making, $600 a pop per sale as she provides value to this amazing, huge audience. And all of a sudden, Molly, I'm pointing out Molly because she's on our workshop right now, is now earning, just had a $40,000 launch campaign. I see it all the time. It's how it works. So that's the kind of thing you want to do. Now, the second thing right? The second area of value where, again, people are like, yeah, but what am I going to get out of it? Okay, here's the thing, all right? And I get this all the time where someone emails me and they're like, we would like to guest blog on Savings Angel. We notice you have a large audience, blah, 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 blah. And all I want is links back to my website, follow links back to my website. Sound like a deal? Like, I was like okay with them in that email up until the point where they started listing out demands of what they wanted. Listen, if you are reaching out to an influencer and it's unsolicited on their part, you are in no position to make demands on what you want from them. Okay? You deserve, or they, the spammer, deserves that delete button and that block button and that spam button faster than anything. It's like, you know, going to, have you ever been to like a networking event and you just have this motor mouth that can't stop talking about themselves? How does that make you feel? You just want to get away from that person, right? So I don't want that to happen to you. Here's the thing, and remember that little offer where I said, hey, if you tweet this and you tag me, right? This is a great tweet right here. Okay, if you give, and you're going to have to work this into your own words because I think this is going to be more than 140 characters. If you give influencers the space, you definitely have to consolidate this. You have to give them the space to reciprocate, and they will. Most influencers, journalists, producers, every person who has a large audience, I know, are professionals, and they absolutely will credit you when you provide great value to them. You can't ask for it, especially at the beginning. You can't ask for it. If you ask for it, it's not, in many cases, it's not going to move forward unless you have just an amazing, huge reputation and you're already a big player. Okay? So give influencers the space to credit you, and they will. Right? If you ask for it, they're not. The pitch isn't even going to go anywhere, right? So remember that, because it's the secret formula. Let's get back to my workshop. Oh my gosh, man, I'm running out of time. Here's the thing: I'm going to give you guys all a gift to make sure that I cover stuff that I would normally cover in this. But I already talked about that. Can you do this yourself? Yes. Look, you do not need to hire a PR firm. $100 an hour. I don't know what kind of PR firm that is. Most PR firms I know charge $200 an hour on up, and they're generally giving you, like, the first month or so, you get to work with their really talented people, and then generally they pass you off to someone who's not quite so talented. Now, there are very good PR firms out there, and most of them do amazing work for large corporations with large budgets. PR for small businesses, you know, ask around. Talk to other business owners who have ever invested in PR, and I just want you to gain an understanding and an appreciation for how badly the system is broken. So what I want you to do is, yes, I want you to do this yourself. There's really, look, there are lots of ways you can do it, right? You know, obviously at Upend PR, we speed up the process for our members. You can do this yourself. You could do it with, you know, like our help, or you can, you know, hire it out and pay $3,000 a month. It's completely up to you. What I like to do is come up with solutions that are a little less risky and have an amazing upside, so you can make a lot of money with that work. All right, but are you ready to start pitching now? No, chances are you're not. Matter of fact, most members that we bring on board, I've only had one person that I felt like was really ready right out of the gate with very little coaching, and they ended up getting 8 media placements in their first 2 weeks with our help. So, but this is not the case for most people. So what should you be focused on? It should be becoming a subject matter expert who the media can go to over and over and over again. Let's see, loved your EO Fire interview. Thank you, Jama. Freedom Journal. Yeah, there's, again, I don't have the details on that, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to share that or not. I've just talked to other people who've been on the program that are like, yeah, I bought like, anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I don't know if I'm supposed to or not. I like my method. Oh, I didn't finish my story because I produced this video for Podcasters Paradise. Then they used it free of charge. Then, by the way, Entrepreneur on Fire. Then a few months later, I said, hey, John and Kate, I was on your website. I noticed that you don't have a press kit. I'd be happy to design one of those free of charge for you, again, because I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And they said, yeah, that would be absolutely great. So we invested, I paid about 7 hours of my PR manager's time, and we made that investment, and again, served them, and I did not ask for anything in return. But after sending that to them, they said, hey, Josh, would you like to be an entrepreneur on fire? And, and you can imagine my response was like, hey, I'm so glad you asked. But I wasn't going to be the one to make that ask. Like, let them make that ask. Like, just keep serving until they, get the feeling that it's probably time for them to reciprocate in some way. All right. So anyway, become a subject matter expert. And why you want to do this is because you will get treated with more respect when you're a subject matter expert. You're an authority in your space, right? We all get that email where it's unsolicited, and it's one of 4 categories: 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 people we respond to right away. 2 people we respond to later. 3 people we intend to respond to later and we never do. And 4 people we're like, why is this person emailing me? I don't get it. I'm not interested. When you reach out to people, you're going to get categorized into one of those 4 categories. I want to make sure that you are always in category 1 or 2. I want people responding to you. In fact, one exercise that I do with people, and I'll do workshops on PR, and I'll say, hey, here's the thing. What I want you to do is I want you to, in this workshop, I want you to go and I want you to do 30 minutes of PR work. Go do it. And I make them sweat a little bit, and I say, okay, I'm not going to make you do it, but if you were to do 30 minutes of PR work, entrepreneurs or startups, people in this room, what would you do? Most people say, I guess I would just start emailing people. And, and they would do that. They would send out a press release. I'm going to tell you that those 2 things are probably the least effective things that you could be doing. And in fact, some people will say, when I broach the idea of public relations, they say, well, we tried PR, it doesn't work. And I say, well, what'd you do? Well, I sent a bunch of emails out, nobody responded. Okay? It's because you haven't built up your credibility yet. When you have high credibility, trust me, people will respond to your email, but we just need to get you there, okay? I want you to become successful at pitching because it's a whole lot less frustrating. So if you do email 5 influencers, I want 3 of them to say yes, as opposed to emailing 10 and 0 say yes, right? It feels really good to be able to, to be able to get yeses all the time in business. All right, so here's 3 things. Here's how you make sure that people respond to you, because journalist producers are going to make very quick, sometimes superficial judgments about you, and it's based on 3 things. Number 1, you're going to get judged based on your pitch. Okay, that's a given, right? But the first area that they're going to determine whether or not you're credible is they're going to take a look at your website. And if your website looks like this, you're not going to get responded to. You'll never know why. It's just your website sucks. And so that's why you're not getting the love that you want. So websites, I find that websites generally need to be redesigned or at least given a major facelift every 2 years. There's stuff that was very popular 2-3 years ago that's not so good anymore. Generally, in most cases, you shouldn't do it, right? Like giant slideshows at the top, just it's not real valuable. It's much better to have an explainer video and a lead capture form in many cases, right? Not all websites. Also, let me just give you a tip. If you scroll down to the bottom of your webpage right now and it says copyright 2014, that's a big clue that you're not actively managing your business. And it's just small things like that that can cause people to make judgments against you. Number 2 is your digital reputation. What happens when I do a Google search on you? Now, you could do a Google search on me. Matter of fact, you're welcome to do it right now. Here, just search my name. Just search that in Google. I can tell you exactly what you're going to find. Okay? It's not Adam Evers. That's horrible. It's pretty good, right? I'm not the biggest cat in town, but I'm all right, right? And I think the first 4 or 5 pages, you're going to find that about 60 to 70% of your search results are podcast interviews. I do a lot of podcast interviews because I'm a big fan of working with podcasters for a number of reasons. Number 1, small podcasters are generally very easy to work with. If you are at least, you got your game at least halfway together, you're going to be able to get on a small podcast. Okay? Podcasters generally know how to do basic SEO, right? And so they'll put your name, they'll put a link to your website. It's a way to get great traffic. Again, you just need to bring high value to their audience, and they will give you the traffic back. But again, give them the space, serve them, bring them value, and you can do that. So again, in terms of starting in PR, podcasting is a great way to go, and it's a great way to improve your digital reputation. And when I say digital reputation, I essentially mean your Google search results. Okay? Because that's what a journalist is going to do when they do their due diligence. They're going to say, all right, who is this John Delia person? Who's Janice Krako? Who's James Schiffer? And they're going to, Sophia, oh, I can't, Golieva. That was horrible, Sophia. I'm so sorry. I'm so slaughtered your last name. I'm sure it's a beautiful, I'm sure it sounds beautiful when you say it. Yeah, good. John Delia says, Google me. All right. Well, we'll do it. John, I promise I will do that later. All right. And so that's a powerful statement, by the way, when you're doing a sales presentation to a room and you at the end of it and just like, hey, if you have any more questions about me or what I do, Google me, right? That's powerful. So I want that for you. And it's important if you want producers to say, yep, we want to work with this person. Now, number 3 is Twitter. And this is where I would normally spend a lot more time talking about this with you. And instead, I'm going to give you a free gift. Now, you Entrepreneur on Fire people, I think you already have this gift. I want you to go to upendpr.com/fire, F-I-R-E. I'm going to give you, and by the way, I'm raising the price from $60 to $100 this weekend, but I'm going to give it to you for free. If you go to upendpr.com/fire, you can have it for free. And again, this is a soon-to-be $100 course because I'm going to add some more resources. And right now, I'm getting like 90% of my paid business, especially for my big ticket sales, through Twitter. And you don't have to love Twitter, you don't even have to like it, but it's a communications platform you need to be able to use. And in my Twitter Publicity Mastery course, I just gave you the URL. Matter of fact, I'm going to type it for you too. upendpr.com/fire. It will automatically enter in the coupon code for you, and you can have it for free. And I don't have to spend any more time on it here. So, are you ready for business? We already talked about this a little bit. I need to make sure that getting you 10,000 people on your website, that's not hard to do. All right, I've been doing that for years and years and years and years and years and years. We can make that happen. All right, now it's really important, however, when we get those people on your website, that they're buying your stuff. Right? I want you to make a lot of money. So it's really important that you learn about how to have a high converting website. And so again, I like lead capture forms right at the top. I love having a good lead magnet, which is something away. And then once they buy that, then they have the option of buying something else for a small fee, and then you just kind of take them through the sales funnel. But again, if it's really confusing how to do business with you, then you need to do that while you're working on your PR. Don't feel like you have to stop one to do the other. You don't, but you need to work on both simultaneously, and you need to do both of them as quickly as possible because that's what's going to be what helps you earn a lot more money. So how do you date a journalist? Well, you got to be cool, right? You got to be like the Fonz. Don't be like this guy, all right? And so what this means is that, like on Twitter, for example, you don't be creepy. That's the #1 rule of Twitter. And by the way, that's a great tweet. How to succeed on Twitter? Don't be creepy. And don't forget to tag me, and I will retweet you to all my people at the conclusion of this workshop. So don't be creepy. Play it cool. I already talked about this a lot in terms of serving them. Now, what should you be pitching? Don't pitch, hey, we just launched version 1.123 Alpha Beta Charlie of our new app. That's not newsworthy, okay? Nobody cares. So that's your tough love for the day, all right? So that press release that the press release that you could tell I'm a former journalist, the press release that you were thinking about publishing all about whatever, like some announcement of new enhancement to your product, like nobody cares about that. Right? Instead, what you need to do is something we call newsjacking, which is basically you just watch what's happening in the world and you become a part of the conversation and you find a way to provide value in that conversation. Now, if you can do that, your success rate in pitching is going to be very, very, very good. Right? If you're just pitching your junk, nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. Now, if you're Apple or Disney and you're on this webinar right now, I don't think you are, but just in case there's someone from Apple or Disney, yes, when you guys put out a press release, it generally tends to be news. But for most of us, now it's not news. So again, find stuff that people are, you be the eyes and the ears for your industry. And then you develop friends that you can say, hey, I don't know if you realize this, Molly, but you know, in my world of consumer savings, there was this, you know, Walmart just made this major announcement that they're no longer going to be doing price matching. This is a really, really big deal. So all of my journalist friends are going to be like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? Yeah, that does sound like a great deal. And I say, well, let me give you a couple of quotes, or if they're in TV, I'd say, look, I'd love to talk about this. Let me give you a few bullet points, and you know, let me know what else you'd like. But I'd love to talk about this. And that's all you have to do. That is the element of a successful pitch, plus the other stuff I talked about earlier. Now, there's a couple of things, tools that you can use that can, in addition to Twitter, and that's my number one tool. Number two is a free service called HARO, helpareporter.com, and it's a little bit of work. I'm not going to lie to you. You get 3 emails a day, and it's filled with journalists who say, I need an expert in X. Now, again, you can succeed at it, but you really do need to dedicate some time to it because you got to sort through and sift through that email. Through upendpr.com, if you have any kind of budget whatsoever for exposure and you believe that that would lead to more sales, then I would strongly urge you to consider taking a look at the service we provide, because we have an agency level membership through HARO. What you would normally pay $150 a month for, we just kind of roll it into all of our other services, and then you get access to these HARO alerts. These are journalists who need experts in what you do, and they are going to quote you. We had one guy, I'll share an example a little bit later, who got 28 media placements, mostly because of HARO. So you can get a lot of media attention either through the free level, or again, if you want to do an agency level membership through Upend PR, we can. I mean, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, if you get those alerts hours early, and you follow and do exactly what we tell you to do, you got to be early, you got to be credible, and you got to give them exactly what the journalist is asking for. And if you just do that, your success rate is through the roof. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I already talked about this. Don't do press releases. It's generally a waste of money. It's fine if you want to write them, but don't pay money to distribute them. It's just, I just don't see them work like they once used to in the days of Mad Men. We already talked about like how to pitch. To get good at interviews, by the way, you just need to do lots of them. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but really what you want to do is that you want to focus on small media outlets and grow and grow and grow. So you start with small podcasters, maybe YouTube celebrities, maybe bloggers, then you work to your local TV market, your local newspaper, industry stuff like industry websites, industry magazines, and then you go to your nearest major city, your major market, and you offer to do some media there, and they already look at you and like, hey, look, this gal, she is already doing all this other stuff. Yeah, kind of a no-brainer. We'd love to. So Jama asks, ClickFunnels or InfoSoft for sales funnels? I don't use either of those. I personally use Lead Pages. ClickFunnels is great. It kind of encompasses a lot more. Lead Pages for me gives me, it's so easy and fast to work with, and it gives me a lot of control. So that and the pricing is really good too. I think I pay, I want to say like $500-600 a year or something like that. So, and plus I know Tim Page personally, and I love the product. I used to do it all myself. I used to code my own pages, but I found that it was just absolutely worth it to be able to make changes to lead capture pages and to upsell pages and to video pages and that sort of thing. Lead pages, I can just do this stuff so fast. It integrates with so many other things. It integrates, I mean, that's what I use for this system, for this workshop. I use it on my front page. I do an upsell where, you know, I may offer something, and that's all integrated. So again, I could do, yeah, you bet, Jamin, no problem. But I could do a whole workshop just on, and I do a lot of this work individually with clients in terms of conversion optimization, helping them make a lot more money on making their sales funnels better. But needless to say, back to the workshop, is that if you want to get on the Today Show, no problem. Just start small, and you could earn your way there. Again, I'm a big fan of podcasts. Here are some of the podcasts I've been on recently. They're at least double this number since this slide. And I love podcasts because it's a long-form interview where you have the opportunity to truly give lots and lots of value. When you do a TV segment, you've got like 2 minutes. You can go on my Twitter feed, and if you scroll down a little bit, you can see a TV segment I did this morning all about, you know, how grocery stores trick you into spending more money. You know, so I didn't really get to give a ton of value, and I only had 2 minutes to do it. But that said, it's a big audience, so I appreciate the opportunity. But podcasts, I'm a big fan of, and I know all these people. I know pretty much every major podcaster, and we do a lot of work with our members as well in helping them get placed on podcasts. So the number one job of a business owner is to grow your business. That's something you need to write down. That's something you should tweet too, and tag me, and I will retweet that. All right. How do you grow business? I think that I have boiled it down to, if I ask myself, what are the 2 most important activities that you can do to grow your business? So why should you grow your own business? Because you'll make a lot more money. And if you're not growing your business, who is? It's your job to grow your business if you're the owner, right? Don't relegate that to somebody else. Just because you love coding doesn't mean you should be coding. If you love making pies, that doesn't mean you should be spending all your time making pies. Your number one job is to grow your business. I have found that the 2 best activities to do that are, number 1, network with influencers. We talked about that a lot. Number 2, serve large audiences. If you just focus on those 2 things, all the other stuff, you'll figure out a way to take care of the other things. But those are the 2 things I have found that will propel your business forward and faster than anything that I've ever seen. So again, serve influencers, serve audiences. Here's a great example of someone who's done this right. Harry Campbell, the rideshare guy, was a full-time engineer in California. And you know, when he and I chatted about 2 years ago, I said, Harry, you're sitting on a gold mine, you know, because right now we need influencers to chat. Lyft. There are no experts in this field other than Uber and Lyft themselves, and they don't always want to comment on every news story. So Harry and I got working on his media game, and sure enough, he started getting a lot of media placements. He has been in every major publication, business or otherwise, you could possibly imagine. Now, Harry was able to quit his full-time job as an engineer within a few months, and now he just develops products and services for his huge audience. And it was his media that got him all of this attention. So it's a great way. I mean, I don't know what your hopes and dreams were when you started your business, but if they involved becoming famous in any way and becoming very wealthy, what I've illustrated is a great way to get there. Here's Robert Farrington, the college investor. Started working with him. Within 2 weeks, had 8 media placements. You know, he already, and you can go to his website, collegeinvestor.com. You know, he's got his stuff together. He's got a good press kit. He's got, you know, he brands himself well, and he's got good products and services to sell. So that's kind of what you want when you have those things. You can watch this video, by the way, if you go to, and let me give you the URL. If you go to upendpr.com/VIP, and you can scroll down to where I talk about the pro level, and you can see exactly how he was able to get. He'll tell you exactly, step by step, exactly what he did. Then there's Mark Ferguson, 28 media placements in, yeah, no, it's not 10, it was 28, including the Associated Press, Washington Post, and a number of other media outlets. Now, again, he's another member that we work with. You don't have to use us. I mean, you could do this yourself. It's just it's a lot more work. So we tend to speed up the process. But again, you could check out his website, invest4more.com, and you can see, again, he's got his stuff together. And as a result, made a ton of money off of his products and services that he gets from his media. Cheyenne Diab from France, she is now a regular contributor to France 24, which is the CNN of France. And so she talks about the Syrian refugee crisis. And she's invited there and lots of other TV outlets on a regular basis. She's now securing funding. She's getting investments. She's getting all kinds of great things. And I couldn't be happier for her, again, because she did the work to get more exposure. So let's review. So I just want to share those testimonials that what I taught you works, not just for myself, it works for other people. So just to review, how much money can you save with excellent publicity? You can save a lot. How you can easily do this yourself, I laid out the steps, and the first steps you need to do, get going, is work on your website, work on building your authority, work on your digital reputation, and work on Twitter. Again, that's the #1 media platform that 90% of journalists I know actively use. Where to find the best media contacts? It's Twitter. How to connect? The course that I gave you for free will teach you that. What's the #1 job of an entrepreneur? It's to grow your business. Don't commit the cardinal sin in a newsroom. And that would be selling your stuff to people. Don't do that, right? Instead, serve. To get on the Today Show, you earn your way there. You start small and you grow big. And how much money can you make with excellent publicity? The sky is the limit. Now, I'm going to now give just a quick behind-the-scenes tour of what we do at Upend PR. I had mentioned to my FinCon friends that there was no selling during this workshop. So if you're really, I'm not going to sell, but if you feel like me giving a tour of what we do is selling, then get off now. Like go away. Like, don't watch what I'm about to share with you, okay? All right? But let me share with you what we do at Upend PR. May be a fit, may not be a fit, and we've got levels, different levels, in how we engage with our members. So the PR industry, I found, is really, really broken for most startups out there. It's built upon a billable hour model, and they make money the more hours that they're able to charge. And unfortunately, most business owners really can't afford what they need to get enough traction. And at the same time, I also have a philosophy that nobody can represent your business as well as you can, as the owner, right? And so when you hire that out to somebody else to be your publicist or your public relations person, you really have to enroll them for a long period of time in order for them to really do you justice. Because the journalists don't want to talk to your PR lackey. They want to talk to you. And so we created a service that would empower businesses where we could focus on the things that we have to do, and that we try to hand things off to the business owner where we know is just going to be way, way more effective. All right, so let me show you. In fact, that link that I just gave you, that upendpr.com/VIP, if you click that right now and you want to scroll down to the very bottom, I'm going to show you exactly what Upend PR does in about 3 minutes time here. You ready for the 2 minutes time? I'm not going to spend that long. All right. So now you should see my screen right here where I'm giving you a tour of what, and you can find it by clicking on pricing. All right. So first off, I've got a video library. It's going to explain. It takes what I just went through in 1 hour's time, and it's going to spend about 5 hours of everything. You don't have to watch all this stuff. You know, at your leisure, it's going to teach you everything you need to know so that you can make millions through free media. I mean, there's really nothing that I laid it all on the table. Like everything I did step by step, all the resources I use, all the tools that I use, all the language that I use, exactly what I say, step by step, I lay it out and teach you exactly what to say and do. And we really focus a lot of time on helping you to become an authority in your space so that your success rate is going to be much better. Twitter Publicity Mastery course, it's included. I've already given you that for free because I'm a giver. But that's also included in there. There's 4 videos. Also, you get 52 hours of live video-based media coaching with me, live, one-on-one, We do this every Wednesday, and I make myself available on this same kind of format right now, and I bring you on and I answer all your questions. We talk about what's going on. We take a look at your website. We help you out, okay? No matter what level you work at Upend PR, you've got access to that. Also, you get a VIP media database. It has 20,000 media contacts in it. So I'm going to lead you right to the front door. The only thing it doesn't include are personal names. Now, we do have access to that as well. I'll share that in just a second. Of course, we've got a private Facebook group, and you have access to done-for-you services should you need that. It's 3 payments of $1.99. I wouldn't be in business for much longer if I did that. But if it's 3 payments of $1.99, I've got some PR managers to pay. But let me show you something really cool. All right, here's a gift code. You ready? This is your gift. All right, it's worth $100. Gift 316. I just put it in the chat window there. All right, audio gone. Is it really? Is it? Am I back? Oh, it's back. All right, thank you, Benjamin. Thank you for the insight, Jameis says. I appreciate that. You use that gift code. It says right here to use a discount code. Put gift 316. You click apply, and then boom, it's going to take $100 off. This is the advanced level I'll share with you in just a second. But no matter what level that you want to work at, it takes $100 off. Right? So that's, by the way, that's an 82% savings off of what any PR firm in their right mind would charge you. They don't like giving you this. They don't like giving you this because it messes up their billable hour system. And that's where you would pay the over $3,000 easily. So you're saving 82% there. All right. Every business owner that wants to grow their business at some point is going to use PR. I just want to make sure that you're empowered so that you can know what you're doing. You can do a lot more of this on your own. That's your do-it-yourself level. Then we have a done with you level, and that's our advanced membership. And this gives you a 30-minute publicity for profit strategy session where we are going to identify the actions that are going to be most profitable for you when it comes to your exposure, your media work, time on your site, on your social media, and I'm going to give you very, very specific things that you need to do, dedicated one-on-one, just you and I, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do so that you can increase your profits. If for whatever reason, like after that session, you're like, man, that's just not very valuable, Josh, just ask for your money back. I've been doing this again. I love sales funnels. I'm passionate about this. I've got a really good track record. I'm not going to let you screw up my track record by not being successful, okay? So that's included. Then you're going to get media monitoring and alerts for a full year, right? And then in addition to that, we're going to give you the HARO alerts that are going to, and this is just like shooting fish in a barrel. Like if you just do what we tell you, you should be able to get anywhere between 3 to 6 media placements every single month. Again, if you're not, let me know. We could tweak it. You get unlimited changes, unlimited keywords. We're going to make sure that you get exactly what you want so you profit from this, all right? I want you to make way more than you ever invest with me. And then we're going to also, we spend $5,000 a year for our media database, and as an advanced member, you could tell us, and we'll give you up to 100 personal points of contact. So if you say you want TV producers in Phoenix, Arizona, we'll give you that. We'll give you up to 100 media contacts, anyone you want. You want to know who you talk to over at Oprah? Yeah, I'll tell you exactly who you talk to over at Oprah, right? It doesn't matter. We've got them all. This is the same tools that your pricey New York City PR firms use. They just charge a lot more money to do it. So again, you get 1 export as an advanced member, up to 100 contacts. This, by the way, 3 payments of $2.99 today with that coupon code. It's $1.99, right? So then we have our professional members, right? And this is the only difference between everything else and this is this gives you 4 hours of our time every single month for us to do work on your behalf. It gives you unlimited media exports. It gives you basically unlimited everything up to, again, 4 hours of our time. Now, again, we also scale that up. I don't put the pricing on here. As a matter of fact, I don't even take enrollments because I take applications now because I would say right now we probably discourage about 25% of the people that come in and say, hey, I want to do this. I want to pay you. I really want you to be very, very profitable. So I'm only going to take you if I feel like you are going to be profitable in our work. I'm not going to get working with you, and then 2-3 months later, you're like, Josh, I'm not making money at this thing. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. So we're going to focus on making sure that we're doing PR for profit's sake, not PR for ego's sake. Right? And now, if you only want PR for ego's sake, just because you have a fame thing, you want to be a celebrity, that's fine. We'll have a discussion about that. But just so you know what my pricing is for that, most firms, again, charge many, many thousands of dollars a month. We work in increments of 4 hours, and it's $600 for every 4 hours, and that includes unlimited access to everything that we do. All of our software, all of our tools. I've got 2 full-time PR managers and myself. We are going to make this work for you. All right? So that's that. So to my friends who are like, don't you sell to me, sorry if that felt like selling. Now, I'd like to answer any question that you have on anything that I covered. So let me put it back on the thing. Now, make sure, oh, here's the thing, right? You have to use that gift code. It expires Thursday at midnight because I don't want that all like getting out on the internet and all that stuff. So Thursday midnight, that's when that offer ends. So either click on the blue Let's Launch button or the blue Apply Now button within the next whatever before Thursday at midnight and apply that coupon and you get the savings. And yeah, that $100, you could take that off of your first month's pro membership as well. So like the first month would be $4.99. And I never, just so you know, I never do discounting on that. I sign up people at the pro level all the time. We have a large number of clients, and I don't give them discounts. And you can ask them. $1,200, $1,800 clients, I just don't do discounts. The only way to get that discount is if you're on this webinar, this particular webinar, and you use that, and that's Gift 316. Okay, so questions on anything. I've covered a lot of information, guys, and I want to make sure that you feel empowered, like there's a lot of stuff that you can go out and do. Make sure that, again, look for my email. I'm going to send you a copy of this video webinar. That if there's anything that you want to review, I'd highly recommend it. I gave you, I would consider thousands of dollars of really, really good advice packed into a short amount of time. And also make sure that if there's anything else, as you look at your notes, go ahead and tweet it anytime today, and I will retweet that to my 20,000 some followers on Twitter and create a great win-win for you, and I'd be happy to do that. And if you have any questions, tweet me or email me. My email address is, and I'm going to post this right in the window, it's josh@upendpr.com. Right? And so I think that's everything, unless there are any other questions. Thank you, Jema. I appreciate it. Benjamin, thank you so much. I appreciate Molly. Thank you. Thank you very much. John, Sven, SJM, Hans, what are you doing here, man? Hans already with the crew. Casey, Adam, bunch of other people. All right, and all you people that are watching this on demand, hey, sorry you couldn't be here live and you missed a little giveaway and stuff like that, but that's all right. I'm glad you got this information. Reach out to me. Make sure that we get together. Put me to work. Put me to service. Let's help you grow in your business. And please let me know what your success stories are. I'd love to hear that. So with that, if there are no other questions, I'm going to check one more time. A lot of great thanks. I appreciate it. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go get my hurricane supplies because I'm in Florida. So I think I only have, I got to fill up my propane tank and get gas. Everything else, I think we're good to go. So if you pray, say a little quick prayer for our people here in Florida that we don't get hammered too hard by the impending hurricane that's just passing Haiti right now. So you guys take care, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.